General Rob Bonta is one of President Trump's most prominent legal adversaries. In the past week alone, we've seen a flurry of legal action from his office, and Bonta also secured a victory in a lawsuit over the president's voter ID executive order.
And Attorney General Rob Bonta joins us now to talk about these most recent cases against the administration. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for being here.
I mean, there are a number of cases we're going to dive into in just a second to go through, but your office has become known for taking on the Trump administration. You're also up for re-election. Is this a re-election tactic, or is this something you've been doing all along?
We've taken a position since day one of Trump's administration, once he got inaugurated, that if he broke the law and hurt California, we would hold him accountable, take him to court, make sure we have a president who follows the law, complies with the Constitution. We've been doing that since day one. We'll continue to do it. It's very important to the rule of law, our democracy, protecting California and Californians. We protected $200 billion worth of funding for California that Trump unlawfully tried to strip away. We're winning our cases 80% of the time. We're protecting rights and freedoms like the right to vote, birthright citizenship. We pushed the National Guard out of our state when they were unlawfully deployed. We struck down unlawful tariffs, raising the cost for Californians. This is about protecting California, Californians, defending the rule of law and our democracy.
Oh my gosh, I'm just impressed you remember everything.
Well, I want to know, have you been keeping track of how many there are? I've read somewhere, I think it's dozens. Are you at like 70-something now?
72
I thought
lawsuits.
So. Wow.
And Trump decides how many times we sue him. If he breaks the law, we sue him. If he doesn't, we don't.
Okay, well, let's talk about some victories with you recently. 2 legal victories when it comes to Trump's voter ID executive order and mail-in ballots. Can you discuss the importance of those rulings?
Yes, and just big picture, Trump has been trying to interfere with our elections for some time since the 2020 elections. Remember, this is a person who asked Georgia state officials to find 11,000 plus votes so that he could win when he lost in Georgia. He fueled the January 6th attacks on the Capitol when they were certifying the election victory of Joe Biden. He recently had ballots seized in Fulton County, Georgia, and he's also issued 2 unlawful executive orders trying to restrict the right to vote for Americans across the country. We won in both cases this past week, once yesterday, once the day before. The first executive order where we got a final judgment on, our 18th final judgment, by the way, in our cases. It prevents the restrictions that he was placing on vote by mail and having some ballots that were timely cast not be counted. He was trying to do that. And it also ensured that you couldn't have this additional citizenship requirement imposed by a president. And what was really important here was that the court reaffirmed the election clause of the U.S. Constitution, what it says in black and white in our most important founding document, that the states, and to a degree Congress, determine the time, place, and manner of elections, not the president. And then the president, in a second executive order, was trying to create basically a filter through the mail system by the Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Postal Service. They could create their own list of who they thought were eligible voters, what could go wrong with that, and then they would prevent vote-by-mail ballots from being sent to those voters who are not on their list. That got struck down because the president doesn't have the authority to impose those additional restrictions as well.
Well, another issue earlier this week, you sent a notice of intent to sue over the administration shrinking an offshore wind project. Can you share details of this case?
Yes, the Trump administration is doubling down on dirty energy, fossil fuels. It is pushing us away from where our future needs to go, which is clean energy, including offshore wind and electric and others, other clean energy sources. And Trump is trying to buy out these leases that already exist to provide offshore wind and replace clean energy with dirty energy. And we believe he's broken the law in the process. We let them know that we intend to sue if they don't correct their actions and get back into compliance with the law, and we're prepared to sue if they don't change.
All right. Well, besides battling President Trump, you are doing other things. You recently created this affordability response team. Affordability, a huge issue in our state. How can this help? What is this team going to do?
This is probably the top issue in the state and across the country. Americans and Californians are screaming to make their lives more affordable, from groceries to gas to housing to health care. Costs are just out of control, and Americans and Californians can't make ends meet. Trump, in the meantime, has imposed unlawful tariffs that raise costs. He has started a conflict in Iran that raised prices at the pump. He is not addressing enforcing anti-monopoly law, which is allowing for prices to go up. But California is committed to tackling the affordability crisis. So we're doing a number of things across a number of sectors because affordability is a challenge in so many different areas. But 2 examples of what what we're doing is we're enforcing housing laws in California to help produce more housing in more places.
Okay.
Cities all need to participate in building more housing. That will create more supply. It will lower costs. It will make the dream of home ownership more affordable. We're also enforcing anti-monopoly law, not allowing for unlawful monopolies, corporate consolidation, where corporations join and merge, and they have a disproportionate amount of the marketplace, and then raise prices for Californians and for Americans. Those are two areas. We're also tackling price gouging and scams.
Okay.
But across the board, we are telling Americans, we hear you, we see you, we value you. We know that affordability is a huge challenge for you. We are on your side. We will have your back. We will fight for a more affordable California for all of you.
Well, you just saw that we do some of these CBS LA Cares events in the community and talk to people in the community. I did this week. I was out in Culver City and I was talking to some people. With the housing affordability, there was a little bit of pushback that it's really changing neighborhoods, and there's issues with parking and those types of things. Critics, in some ways think that a lot of our financial issues are self-imposed because we have all these regulatory issues and taxes and all this type of stuff. So what do you have to say to critics that are saying, like, I understand what you're saying, you're trying to go after these things, but they also have repercussions that don't make life better here in California?
Yeah, I think we can do it both. We can do both. We can get the right balance. We can build more housing and build it in the right places, with the right character, in the right ways, at the right heights, with the right requirements. There's no insistence that you build housing that's out of character with the rest of the neighborhood. We just need to plan for it, have the ambition and the courage and the commitment to build more housing, but do it right, do it in the right places, in the right ways. So I think we can balance it all, and we need to. We're in a crisis. People need to be able to buy more homes. Sometimes those are excuses, honestly, to not build. We have Not in My Backyard NIMBY cities who will tell you every reason why they can't build, but the law requires that they do, and they allow for more housing in their cities.
And people want that help now. How long do you think it takes until we see a difference here?
On housing?
With this team, just in general with the affordability initiative.
We've already been delivering. We're going to be delivering more results. We're already we're blocking unlawful corporate consolidations and mergers that could raise prices. We're already in the tens of thousands we've had more housing be permitted and moving forward to be built. So we're making progress now. Our new task force, our affordability response team, is committed to accelerating that progress, doing more, and doubling down on this issue because Californians deserve it.
Attorney General Rob Bonta, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for always coming in studio.
Yeah, we do appreciate that.
Yeah,
thank you. All right, it is